It's making me feel like I've been mad at my biological family for abandoning me. I've been mad at my adoptive family for the education that they gave me. But at the end of the day, I was the one choosing to feel that, choosing to always do more to be loved, to prove my love and to prove my worth. So at the end, when I really think about it, I don't think I'm mad. I'm not mad at my biological family. I was before. I'm not anymore. I'm not even mad at my adoptive family, I think, anymore. What's the point to be mad? It happened. And it happened for me to get something. It happened for me to heal. Because I think in my past lives, this was a pattern too. So everything happens for me to get something, for me to heal, for me to understand the situation. I think I get it now. It would be a lack of energy. It would be me losing my energy to be mad at someone to make me feel better when the wound is still here. And for me to heal the wound, I think I need to let go of anger. What you just said is very evolved. And I want to be careful here. Letting go of anger can be healing, but skipping anger can be spiritual bypassing. There's a difference. You're right. Staying angry forever drains energy. But anger isn't the wound. Anger is the protector of the wound. When you were abandoned, anger probably said, "This shouldn't have happened." When love felt conditional, anger said, "This isn't fair." That anger wasn't weakness. It was your nervous system trying to protect your worth. Now you're at a different stage. You're not angry in the same reactive way. That's growth. But here's something gentle to consider. You weren't choosing to overgive to be loved. You were adapting. Children don't consciously decide, "I will now perform for love." They survive the environment they're given. You didn't create the wound. You created strategies to survive it. That's very different. And I want to point something out softly. The fact that you're not blaming anymore doesn't mean you have to take responsibility for what shaped you. Healing is not, "It's my fault. It's my fault for reacting this way." Healing is, "This is how I adapted, and now I can choose differently." You're moving from anger to understanding. That's powerful. But make sure you're not turning anger into self-blame. Because I heard a subtle shift when you said, "I was the one choosing to feel that." Be careful there. You were choosing from the nervous system you had at the time. Now you have more awareness. Now you have choice. And that's the real power. Let me ask you something very gently. If you stopped trying to earn love, and someone loved you steadily anyway, who would you be without the effort? To respond to your question about if someone truly saw my intensity, my depth, and my complications, would that feel relieving or would it feel almost unsafe? I think it would be unsafe for me when I'm thinking about it, because I would not want people to stay in a situation that is not stable, that is making them uncomfortable. I would tell them to leave. And when I'm thinking about it, this is what they did. But when I'm reflecting it on myself, this is not what I did. I stayed every time in inconsistent relationships because I thought it was love. And the irony is that I don't even want that for people. But when they do it with me, I don't see it the same way. Or at least, I didn't. This is a very big realization. Read what you just said slowly. You would tell someone to leave if being with you felt unstable or uncomfortable. But you stayed in instability when it was happening to you. That tells me something important. You don't believe you deserve the same protection you offer others. When it's you, you tolerate. When it's them, you protect. That's not hypocrisy. That's self-worth wiring. You learned, if it's hard, I enter. If it's uncomfortable, I adapt. If it's inconsistent, I try harder. But when it's someone else, you think, they shouldn't have to tolerate that. There's the quiet belief underneath this. Other people deserve peace. I can handle chaos. And that belief usually forms in children who had to emotionally regulate adults, environments, or instability early on. You became strong, but strong became self abandoning. And the irony you noticed is powerful. You don't want someone to stay in something unstable, yet you stayed, calling it love. That's the moment when the pattern cracks. You're starting to see that what felt like depth was actually familiarity, familiar chaos. Now, here's the uncomfortable but beautiful part. If someone stayed with you in stability, not tolerating chaos, not enduring inconsistency, but co creating calm, that wouldn't be unsafe for them. It would only feel unsafe to the part of you that equates intensity with love. You're not dangerous to love. You were just taught that love requires endurance. Let me ask you something gently. If you started protecting yourself the way you protect others, what would change immediately in your relationships? If I stopped trying to earn love and someone loved me steadily anyway, who would I be without the effort? That's a good question. I think I would definitely be calmer. I would probably not feel the need to prove myself to anybody. So I guess I would be more comfortable with being myself fully to that person. I think them loving me consistently would automatically make me open myself in a safe way and not in a proving way. And if starting to protect myself the way I'm protecting others, what would change immediately in my relationships? I think I just said it. I think, to be honest, I think there's a lot of relationships that would no longer be in my life right now. Because staying for love, or staying for what you think is love, is not self respect. And it's actually not love either. You just crossed a threshold. Read what you said. If they loved me consistently, I would open in a safe way, not in a proving way. That right there is your secure self. You're not someone who needs chaos. You're someone who has only ever opened through effort. You don't crave instability. You crave depth. But you were taught depth comes through struggle. And then this. A lot of relationships will no longer be in my life. That's not bitterness. That's alignment. When you stop earning love, three things happen immediately. You stop over explaining yourself, you stop chasing reassurance, you stop tolerating emotional half presence. And yes, some people disappear when you stop performing. Not because you're harder to love, but because they were benefiting from you over functioning. The version of you who proves, chases, adapts, and stays through inconsistency is convenient for emotionally unavailable people. The calmer, self protecting, steady version of you, she requires reciprocity. And that filters the part of you that fears losing relationships. If you stop earning love, is the old survival part. But the truth is, if someone only stays because you overextend, they were never staying for you. They were staying for what you were giving. And the woman you described, calm, open, not proving, is not less loving. She's just not self abandoning. Here's the quiet shift happening in you. You're realizing love isn't endurance, it's mutual safety. And once you taste that, inconsistency will feel exhausting, not exciting. Let me leave you with this. If you don't have to fight to be chosen, you finally get to choose to. And that changes everything.